Do you like an introverted guy? And do you want an introverted man to pursue you? If so, here are 3 things you need to know about introverted men. And as a quick disclaimer here, while I am an introverted Christian man, I fully recognize that not all of these points are going to relate to every single guy. So what I've tried to do in this video is, rather than give you absolutes, I'm trying to give you general principles that tend to apply in most situations when it comes to an introverted Christian man being attracted to a woman and her inviting him to pursue. Number 1, create opportunities to be one-on-one together. Hebrews 10:24 says, "Let us think of ways to motivate one another to acts of love and good works." Thus, it's right for you as a Christian woman to consider how you can help this man love you and pursue you, if that's God's will for you both. One way to best help him is to first understand him. So what does it really mean to be introverted? A lot of times this term tends to be misapplied, and people think, oh, to be introverted means to be shy, or to like to always be alone, or to be afraid of public speaking, or to like to stay home all day and read books the majority of your time. And certainly some introverts could be identified by some of those phrases, but really introverted and extroverted are psychological terms. And they're not necessarily describing behaviors that certain people take, because behavior is a choice. So as an introvert, I've chosen to learn to be more social. I've chosen to learn how to public speak. I've chosen to learn how to hold a conversation with someone that I've never met before. So, and likewise, an extrovert can like to be alone. They can like to watch movies. They can be bad at public speaking. They can be nervous around people. So all of that's behavioral. Really what introverted and extroverted are referring to are the personality traits of how we gain and lose energy. So while an introvert could choose to and learn to enjoy and may just naturally enjoy being around people, public speaking, talking to strangers, the interactions they're having with people are going to be taking their energy, and eventually it's going to be gone, and they have to refuel their energy by being alone, being in a quiet place, and spending time in smaller groups. Versus an extrovert, again, the behaviors, they can vary, but the energy levels are going to be refilled when they're around more people. They're doing something in big crowds. They're going to feel pumped up after a very social night. And when they're spending a lot of alone time, they may like that at times. They may know they need that at times, but eventually that's going to wear them out and they need to get around people. I say all of that because an introverted Christian man will really only open up away from the group. The more people present, the more his senses will be pulled in many directions, preventing him from feeling at ease. However, the smaller the group, the more likely his energy will be higher. Thus, he will have more ability to just be himself. This will allow you two to make a more natural connection and bond in the ways that are needed before he will pursue you. Number 2, think in terms of depth, not breadth. 1 Peter 4:10, God has given each of you a gift from his great variety of spiritual gifts. Use them well to serve one another. So I wouldn't call introversion and extroversion a spiritual gift. However, we can see the principles here that God has gifted us all differently, but he wants us all to use our gifts in the same way, which is to love others. So how will an introverted man tend to try to love a woman compared to an extroverted man? Again, this idea of depth rather than breadth can be helpful here. Introverts tend to focus on a smaller amount of things, but go deeper in those areas. This is important for you to understand when it comes to a man, because his pursuit of you will be governed by this principle, and thus it may cause you to need to adjust your expectations of how he is pursuing you. So, for example, maybe you're used to more extroverted guys who kind of jump into the romantic phase a lot faster when there's some obvious chemistry between you both. They start just telling you their feelings more. They jump to the dating phase, whereas an introverted Christian guy probably isn't going to do that. He's probably going to linger longer in the friendship phase because he wants to go deeper and he's really enjoying getting to know you. Or maybe you're just used to a more expressive type of guy who likes you and sends you texts. An introverted guy probably isn't going to do something quite so stereotypical. He's probably going to want to go deeper and like ask you important questions and hear about your thought process and your dreams and just want to go deep in conversation. Or perhaps you're just used to that guy who wants to show you off in public. You know, he wants to go downtown and have a night on the town and make reservations at a fancy restaurant and get all dressed up and take pictures and post them on social media. And again, I'm not saying that's wrong. Some people really like that. Some people really need that to feel appreciated. But maybe this introverted guy is going to want to go on a hike and show you his favorite private places. Or he's going to want to plan a picnic in the country somewhere. Or he's going to want to stay home and watch a movie and then talk about the movie in depth afterwards. Which really leads us to point 3. You have to accept his weaknesses so that you can also appreciate his strengths. Psalm 139:13-14. For you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. So an introverted guy is not better or worse than an extroverted guy. Really, they're just different. So my encouragement to you is that if you are thinking about an introverted guy, I would just encourage you to make sure that's actually what you want. Because if you're looking for a guy who has the best parts of both the introvert and extrovert and none of the bad parts, then you're just never gonna meet a guy that exists. Now, I'm not saying that some guys don't need to stretch themselves. If you're a bit more extroverted and, you know, an introverted guy is falling in love with you and you're falling in love with him, of course he's going to have to compromise. I'm not saying you always have to defer to him. He's going to have to compromise with your desires as well. But big picture, you have to accept how he is if you want him to want to pursue you. Because nobody wants to feel like they're not measuring up to the other person's desires. Introverts will have certain desires and gifts that an extrovert doesn't have, and the opposite will be true as well. Whenever you say yes to one option, you're always saying no to a different option. So just as you want to be appreciated for who you are and not made to feel bad because of what you're not, so too will an introverted man be more likely to pursue you if you accept his strengths and weaknesses. Did you know that an introverted Christian guy may actually be pursuing you without you even realizing that he's doing that? I talk about 3 signs that an introverted guy is pursuing you in this video right here. So that may be interesting to you. I'm Mark from ApplyGodsWord.com. Until next time, God bless.